Traders, how are you? With Marcello. Today we're going to be talking about the crypto crash, the Bitcoin crash. I'm getting a lot of questions. Why is it recovering? Why isn't it going up real fast again like before? So I want to kind of explain to you the series of things that have happened, and it's something that I didn't anticipate, but I'm not one of the crypto guys, right? I prefer other investments, things like stocks and the mining stocks and silver and things like that. Not to say that Bitcoin isn't a good investment. I think I've had a lot of friends that have made a lot of money with Bitcoin, but there's some things now that are happening that I think we should probably out on the look for, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today in today's video. Now, I'm gonna tell you how the governments towards the end are competing or starting to compete with Bitcoin. Right. One of the things that I thought was really interesting, and one of the things that I promised that I always do these videos on the Spanish side, and I never do them on the English side. So I'm starting to get caught up to do these videos on the English side. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting, if we just, if you're watching this, it's because you want to learn how to trade or want to learn how to invest. Remember, I'm not a trading advisor. I can't tell you guys what to do or how to do it. Your investments are your responsibility. I don't give out trading advice. This is solely for educational purposes only. I'm going to cover my butt there for a second. But one of the things I thought was really interesting is I'm going to turn this into a weekly chart. This platform is TradingView, which I highly, highly recommend. It's amazing. But this was the initial spike up here in December of 2017, right? So one of the things that you have to learn about investing or trading, if you're going to learn to do things like technical analysis, is you don't need indicators. Indicators, things like volume and volume profile and order flow and moving averages, they all calculate off of the price. So if you learn how to read the price, this is kind of the secret, right? If you learn how to read the price, then no one can ever take that away from you. So notice, this is just a quick thing that I wanted to tell you guys before I kind of get into why cryptos are crashing and why they may not recover as quickly as everybody thinks it is. Notice here when it started going up, we have this little bit of a run right here, right in the beginning, right? This is one, kind of peak to trough. You can see how it runs up. Here's one retracement. It goes up again. Here's the second retracement. Notice it goes up here. Notice this little move, these three bars right here is the third retracement, and then it literally takes off. Now notice the next time that we had this kind of parabolic move, because it's kind of very similar now. We're kind of getting this pattern behavior. This is very similar to how a lot of other markets work, where every market has its personality. So if you learn how to read that personality, then obviously you can do very well, because it's all about pattern recognition. So notice here, we start here at the bottom. It goes up, right? Here's one, here's two. Notice here's that little half retracement, kind of not retracement at all. And then notice it takes off. You could even consider this one here to be the third retracement. Notice how it takes off. And if you notice here on this one, the one that didn't take off, right? Notice here, notice it had the same kind of behavior. Notice it went up here. Here's the first retracement. It went up. Here's the second retracement. Notice it went up. Here's when it should have went parabolic. So that's how you can minimize your stops or look for profit targets and things like that. Now, if you like these kind of videos, let me know there in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. It helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm. I've been doing this now for almost 21 years. It's been an amazing run, and I always like to share these videos with you. So go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you do have any questions, don't forget to leave them there with the hashtag #AskMarcello. I'll be happy to pull those up for you. Now, all of this in terms of the crash started, let's go back to today. Right? This all started right here at about April 2021. We had a little bit, retracements before that, but notice here in April, for the most part, is when it started. And if you notice here in April, really what started the initial, let's say, rundown or the crash was the report that the U.S. is starting to hunt down and investigate Binance, which is the largest crypto broker, let's call them, in the world. And so the biggest one in the US is Coinbase, but in the world we have actually Binance. Binance is the one that I actually use. And so this to me is a little bit important, because this is the first time that we've actually seen the market actually really respond to that. We've had it, we did have it one time before when China reported that it was going to start cracking down, but it doesn't surprise me that China does it. The US, even though it's continuing to degrade, is still the leader in the world, right? So whatever the US does, everybody kind of follows. And so we had this report that came out, and one of the things that I think is really interesting about this is that it was just a report. It was just a rumor. It wasn't even confirmed yet, and that's when the market went down. And so it's really interesting to me because this is what I think has been always the risk. I think whenever you invest in anything, whether it's in real estate or cars or stocks or whatever, there's always a risk involved in that, right? There's always a possibility, the sun just came out. There's always a possibility that you can lose your money, or, in a house, there's termites that you might not have seen, or foundation issues, whatever you invest in. And Bitcoin, even though the expectation is that it's going to continue to rise, obviously one of the disadvantages is that volatility. And for me, one of the other, and I know it doesn't look good right now with the sun poking out, so you have to forgive me there, but I'm going to stay here in the shade so that it doesn't get in my eyes. But one of the risks of Bitcoin, in my view, is the regulation aspect. And if the market, I want to show you this great infographic that I had. If the market actually drops that way, just on the rumor in the US that we have that a possible regulation. Notice here, 86.9% from November 2013 to January 2016, that's the largest retracement on record, and that's when China actually banned Bitcoin. Now remember, what happens if the US actually does that? Now there is some pushback to that and respect that due to the fact that Bitcoin isn't centralized, nobody can regulate it, so they won't be able to ban it. But the simple fact that we had that huge retracement just on the report that the US was doing that, I think is a big thing to kind of take away, because even though the cryptos are going to still be going up and going down, if there's another report or they actually do crack down or they take down an exchange, then that could be really big news for cryptos, and it actually may continue to go back down, right? So that's the first thing that happened. We had the situation with the potential report that the US was going to start going after Binance and start investigating things, right? I'm going to change this back to daily so you can see the relative nature. So notice right here, from the peak, and it started to go down. Then we had the situation, then the man of the hour, Elon Musk, decided to come in, and he wanted to get involved. He's been had a great PR so far before that, right? He started accepting crypto. Tesla sold part of its position. They made billions of dollars, and then all of a sudden, he decides to not do Bitcoin anymore. And so that's when we had the situation where we had the continuation to the downside. And not only that, right? Not only that, let me show you here. That's the next one. And then after that, we had a situation where China now is starting to introduce more regulations. So now we have a situation, and this, again, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin is necessarily not going to continue going back up. But one of the things that we do see with Bitcoin is we do have these huge moves, and 80% or a 50% or a 30% retracement really is not that much for Bitcoin. It's normal market movement, right? And so if we notice here, I'm going to put this back to monthly. It took about 3 years or so for the market to make a new record after it crashed. This is just what the charts say. So you can see here in December of 2017, we had the big crash when it went from 19,000 down to about right here. You can see 3,000-ish. And then it took right here it was December 2020, November 2020. So it's 3 years that it took to recover. So there may be a situation now because of, profit taking, and also the regulation aspect, the rumors of regulation, the competition now with central bank digital currencies. I think what's going to happen is that we might have a situation where the digital currencies, even though they're not real cryptos, can actually give a little bit of competition to Bitcoin and a little bit of competition to the other aspects of the cryptos as well. Now, not to say that they won't exist. For example, the pushback is that even, they're not regulated. They can't, it's decentralized. The government can't ban it. But what if they say, well, India, for example, is passing a law now saying that you cannot, an individual can't own a crypto that isn't the digital rupee. So I think what's going to happen is, what I've said from the beginning is, we have this rise of potential regulation or investigation, let's say. Then Elon Musk came to the party and ruined the party for everybody, right? And that's why we had the crash overall. But now we have a situation where we also have a lot of news of these other central banks talking about launching their own digital currencies. So I love the idea behind Bitcoin. I love I hate the centralized, bureaucratic, high tax situations that we have with governments. So I don't think that the powers that be, whoever they are in the government or the deep state or whoever, right? I don't think that they're going to let go of power. And the power is through the financial system. And so that doesn't mean that Bitcoin's going to go away, right? Bitcoin can still be a financial asset that somebody can speculate in. But I do think that as Bitcoin becomes more of a payments provider rather than just an asset that you can speculate on, that's when I think we're going to start getting in some of this trouble. And I think that as the digital central bank digital currencies come out, which aren't really digital currencies, right? They're using the blockchain technology that Bitcoin and other cryptos use. I think they're going to give Bitcoin a little bit of a run for their money as well. One of the things that I thought was really interesting, and this is another video that I wanted to do for you in terms of how to prepare for the new world order. And I'm just going to find it here on this article so you guys can see. So this is about the Chinese digital currency, and it says, with no need for a bank to serve as an intermediary. So individuals without access to a bank account could easily receive and secure electronic payments. Imagine what the future is going to be when there's no banks, there's no Visa, there's no MasterCard. The government controls the entire financial system. And one of the things that was really interesting about this as well is that they said they could make it expire. So that you literally have money in your account, it's digital. They could just decide you said the wrong thing, you're out. Your money's gonna expire. You gotta spend it or it's a wrap. That's basically why we have the situation with Bitcoin where it's crashing. It may not recover that quickly. Nobody really knows. At the end of the day, it most likely will go up and make new record highs. But based on what's happening, we have the regulation aspect starting to come up. We have a very big voice in Elon Musk, which promoting things like Dogecoin, and I think it's the Cum Rocket, the last one, the smaller crypto that he's supporting. And then we have a situation where now we're having a lot of these digital currencies from central banks come in. So that's something to consider as well. So if you liked the video, let me know. Leave a like there on YouTube. It helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you guys have any other questions, let me know. Just hit them in the comments there with hashtag AskMarcello. We'll see you next time.